So this is a training session with Karuhat a couple of days after I fought in Chiang Mai. This is the Rompo gym where he's taking sessions in Bangkok right now. And so he's actually directing me on things that he saw me doing in my fight. So he saw me coming in against my opponent who was putting herself on the ropes and kind of like putting my knee up and then falling in and catching for the clinch. He's literally taught me this move before, which is really funny because the way I'm doing it wrong is that I'm overturning as I come down. So he's saying to bring the leg up the same way that I was, but then come down in my opposite stance and just throw the cross. I'm naturally orthodox, so I'm coming in southpaw, landing orthodox, and then throwing my right cross, which has been a power shot for me forever. So he's saying I'm doing that.
What?
He's like, don't do that.
He didn't like that I was doing this.
It's not good.
I was hooking them.
Look at how he looks.
He's saying you come
He's like,
down
look at how
and
done
switch
this
and
is.
throw the right. So when she's up like this, you just switch.
So my opponent was throwing her left knee up into me as I was coming forward, and I was actually hooking to like stay away from her, but he's talking about something I was doing earlier in the fight, and he's showing how if you land in your opposite stance, you just throw whatever crosses
Yeah, but
the cross in that
that's your
stance.
deep instinct.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's your hop in.
So don't catch automatically if you don't need to. Bang, bang. See how you get two shots out of it instead of just grabbing? This is something that a lot of trainers have been working with me on, is like how to score on my way in instead of just grabbing. I just did it right there and he's like, that's perfect. He's like, you can see how it's enough to land in that opposite stance and throw the power side like that. And see how he's on one leg, so even if he's not against the ropes, he's on one leg, so nailing him with a power shot is going to knock him off balance even if it's not landing clean. So I'm just kind of, I've worked with Karuhat so many times now and I love him so damn much that this is kind of just playtime for us together, but I'm always implementing little pieces that he's given to me, and then things that were working for me in my last fight, I'm kind of like bringing in a little bit. He had sent me some text messages before my fight letting me know, having watched my opponent, what he wanted me to do. So I'm kind of like pulling some of those elements in, but really it's just playing around. Like anytime you see Karuhat, it's just like sandbox time, which is so fun. These shorts he's wearing are a replica we had made of the shorts he wore in his fight against Lam Namoon. These amazing retro pink shorts, and he was so excited to get them that he put them on right away. So I'm kind of staying on the porch a little bit as I'm coming in, which if I were actually fighting Karuhat, he'd be kicking me the entire time I was on my way in. But even there, as he's moving off the ropes, I'm catching him as he's moving, which I haven't been able to do comfortably, even though he's taught me that many times. I'm kind of starting to get eyes a little bit more, which the thing about Karuhat that makes him Karuhat is his eyes are just incredible. He sees everything like Quicksilver. It's slow motion for him. I'm just starting to see how I can throw like 2 or 3 things on top of each other without being kind of cluttered. That's what he's been working with me on in previous sessions. In the intensive study I did with him, he was always working with me on continuity. So like do is to continue on. I'm starting to get that here. He's saying you can't cross block without being knocked completely off balance. So he's telling me to hit the side. See how he puts his leg up? And so he's like, that side is open on the standing leg because he's not going to cross block it. It's too far off balance. So that side is pretty much one really long target from his foot to his shoulder. And here I'm trying to land that kick as he backs off of me, which he's been trying to get me to do for a really long time. So see how as I step in, if I happen to change my stance, you just fire on that other side. Like, you allow it to be like walking instead of having to correct that position. I'm kind of using this forward block that I stole from him that he's actually told me to stop doing.
Watch his knee.
But he tells me to stop doing it because I'm not doing it right. So I'm just experimenting with it here. Bringing that forward check up kind of stops him from kicking on that side. And you'll see he's wearing a brace on his left knee because it's a little bit tweaked right now. So I know he's only going to be kicking on that side. So I really only need to block a right kick. That little duck in is something that I've semi-stolen from him, but I saw one of the kids from my gym do it in a fight, and I was like, oh my god, that's what Karuhat does. It's this little, like, duck in. And the kid from my gym uses it to enter into the clinch. Karuhat uses it as a block. I'm kind of just messing with it in between, but it kind of hides what I'm doing a little bit, and it feels good is the main point. It feels like I'm being Karuhat. Look at the way his feet move. To stand in front of him and he's just like dancing around like that. So I'm calibrating my feet because I stand with my foot too far behind the other one and then I can't block or move. So I do this little like thing with my foot to calibrate it out wider, and he noticed me doing it and he's like, what the hell are you doing? So I'm explaining it to him and he's like, if you step out with your front foot, you can catch the person as they're moving away. So like they think that they're stepping away from your kick, but you're following them because you're stepping towards their outside foot. This is something he's been trying to get me to do in like quartering off the ring all the time. When someone's against the ropes, you know where they're going to go, and you can get a half step in front of them by stepping outside their standing foot. These are his knees. These like, you fold the arm and knee in. Oh, look at his little steps. So here he's going to correct my knee because he wants my knee to be super long. He's always complaining to me that I knee too high. The reason it's a problem if I'm kneeing high is that it ends up being kind of short. You shorten your knee, and he wants it to be super long. Again, if I'm stepping towards his outside foot, so my front foot goes towards his front foot, if I step outside of it and bring my knee long, like a heat-seeking missile, it's going to follow him as he tries to curve away from it. Whereas if I come straight up, he can step outside of it, which is what I was doing when my opponent was trying to knee me in my last fight, and I was totally getting out of the way of it. He saw me do a session with Chumuk Pet, and Chumuk Pet knees really high. He brings his knee straight up. And Karuhat's like, he didn't always do this. He's like, Chumuk Pet's knees were nasty, and they came really long. But the point he's making is that they come straight. And that's something Chumuk Pet said to me too, is he's like, if you knee wide, someone can block it. But if you knee really straight, it's just a straight line between 2 points, right? That's the shortest distance. Karuhat's, because he brings that heel up, which everyone talks about, as he's trying to get away, my knee's going to follow him, and then as he tries to get away from the next one, I'm just walking forward and the next one follows. He's like, don't keep throwing that same side because they're getting out of the way. See how I can just walk? And he's going to get caught by that second one. It's like scissors. This is his imitation of what I do. Grabbing on one side and then throwing like mushy knees. I'm trying to defend myself. I'm like, in my fight, I did your little hop back a couple of times. And he's like, yeah, a couple of times. But if you do what he's telling me to do more, the fight's over. See how you can just walk forward with those? That's why Karuhat looks just unstoppable, is because he's ambidextrous. So any step he takes is setting up for the next strike. It's totally just back and forth. It looks like it's not. It looks like he's doing like magic tricks, but it's really just like how one foot follows the other. I'm putting my weight on my back foot, which is why I'm having to cross block when he's trying to kick me. I should actually have my weight on my front foot more. That's what he's taught me about kicking, is keeping your weight on your front foot to kind of be able to slide and glide into the kick and hide it.
Nice follow, baby. Nice.
So I'm kind of doing an amalgam of the walking knees he just taught me and still keeping them higher than he wants them to be, which is why I'm missing a little bit. But that's probably for the best, because if I were landing them, they'd be kind of going through them. He is unreal when he grabs up top like that, his little scarecrow move.
But push off more.
He gets
badass,
really
baby.
heavy up top.
More badass.
He knows that I know what he's doing. So that cross block is okay. He was showing before how it knocks you off balance to try to cross block like that. If that's your only option, sure. I'm making it my only option by keeping my weight in one spot. His weight is always going back and forth. In the same way that he's ambidextrous, he truly shifts his weight all over the place. He can move anywhere. He's the queen on the chessboard. Look at him pop me off. This is nice though, because my answer back is part of what he's been trying to teach me in being able to read and hold a conversation. So often when I miss him, I'll stop and just be pissed that I missed, or like, why didn't I step, or whatever my thing is. But even if I miss, if I walk, see how I walked off of that block? I can still catch him on the other side. It's becoming more fluent in holding a conversation of strikes. That block is ridiculous, like me just getting caught on the hands over and over again. But if you're fucking up the same thing over and over again, just walk through it. So this is something that he actually told me to do in my fight, which is to fake the knee and then throw the elbow on that side. If your opponent is orthodox, you're going right into their open side there. Oh, and they're on one leg. So even if you don't hit super hard, which you don't need to with elbows, for elbows to slice, you don't want to hit super hard. You want them to kind of glance. But just the impact while they're on one leg. That was the wrong side. What I'm not understanding that he's saying is that after my knee comes up, he wants me to step inside his stance. So my left leg is coming up as that forward check, but then he wants me to step towards his standing leg. And he's going to go backwards either way. Oh, yeah. So I'm kind of tracking his open side without realizing it, but that's one of the first things he taught me in teaching me how to read and like how to speak Karuhat, was watching the open side and aiming for the open side.
Nice.
I'm seeing it now and reading it now without actually really thinking about it, which is really good. See the way he like goes for the kick but then decides against it? That's part of his hiding when he's gonna kick. So see how I'm just walking forward and he's just walking back? He's like, if you're step for step, just know when it's about to be their open side and kick it. Because if I step forward and he steps back, we've just completely switched what's the open side. See how easy that is? And then another thing he's taught me is that anytime you get them to block, they're on one leg, which gives you a ton of targets. So that's what I keep doing. And he's like, no. See how he pulled my elbow to the front so that my elbow is on his chest? He's like, this is enough. This is the position you want to be in.
Yeah.
If you overturn, see that? You can't do anything. He's like, then you have to come back to do anything. That right there is why he switched me to southpaw, is because I keep overturning like that. So he's like, put your strong side in the front. So if I keep my elbow in the front here, I can maintain control and move him around. Whereas if I over grab, like what he's complaining about against the ropes at the beginning, then I have to reposition myself to be able to do anything. It's like you've overshot and have to reverse. God, that following him as he's moving along the ropes is something he tried to get me to do in the intensive study I did with him for a month, and I just could not remember to do it because I was thinking about it too much, and now I'm not thinking about it, but those strikes are coming out. It's really good. See how he's bringing his leg up for that block, and it just creates this long line of an opening all along his standing side, his standing leg side. Just that little duck in I've been trying to do. And this is fine, like I'm getting tagged too, but he's mainly hitting my guard, and I don't have to back out. You can just keep that ground that you made.
Nice.
So it's okay. You get kicked, that's alright. So I put my hand on his head to knee him, and I kneed him, but he stepped away. So he's showing me why he was showing me before how to angle that knee straight to follow him as he's trying to step off. That's the same thing as stepping towards the outside leg as you're kicking, so that while they try to pivot off, you're still going to reach them a little bit. Oh! He's proud of that one. So both of us had our knees up, and he just went inside mine and hit me in the middle. So I'm trying to get my jab just in his face a little bit. I'm not really jabbing, I'm just trying to kind of reach him and stay closer. We're basically a kneer versus a kicker, so when I stay in the kicking range, I'm in his range, and I want to be a kneeing range. So there I did the walking knees, but then I backed up to reset into my original position. Just walk back into your original stance. He's a nightmare to teep. So he had told me for my last fight that he actually wanted me to switch back to orthodox, but keep throwing my left elbow because that's the open side. So here, see how he's stepping towards my outside leg? If you walk straight, anyone who pivots off to the side, anyone who is not a straight linear fighter is going to get a little bit out of the way. And so he's telling me to walk towards that other leg so that you can catch them as they're trying to pivot. It's such an easy cheat. And even if they don't pivot off to the side, it doesn't hurt you to step towards that leg. My arms are still a little bit wide and like coming down low because I'm really relaxed. When I was doing the intensive with him, my arms were really floppy, like I didn't have any protection up top. I'm seeing that they're able to create structure when needed at times, when he's trying to fire back at me or like create resistance as I'm coming in. It just needs a little bit more structure, and then it'll be working in tandem with the lower half of my body. So see how my left arm was pushing against him? He wants that to collapse into an elbow. I'm starting to get a little bit frustrated just because he's kicking me so much, and I know that I only need to block one side, so I'm like, only block that one side. And now the reason I'm not is because I'm thinking about it. But I'm walking forward, switching sides the way that he's talking about. This is what it means to be a switching fighter. Being a switching fighter is not like I'm deciding to fight left-handed and now I'm going to fight right-handed and kind of like fool my opponent. It's about being able to literally walk into any position. Look at his feet as he like takes those stances. He takes like a little bit of a fencer's step back and then he switches stance. When he switches stance, he's actually loading to fire. Look at his feet. He's so light on his feet.
That's how you keep from, if you walk straight, he can always tag you as you're coming in.
So this is me understanding what he's told me many times before. He's taught me to do it offensively, which is to watch my opponent's weight. And when their weight shifts, that's when you attack. That's why when your opponent, if they switch their stance, you can tag them on their open side immediately. But I'm just walking straight forward. So that trick he taught me of going towards the outside leg, that's how you don't get hit when you switch your own stance, but you're able to hit your opponent when they switch theirs. It gives you a slight advantage in an otherwise 50-50 exchange. He's noticing that I'm doing this very weird thing with my arms every time he kicks me, and he's just asking me what it is, which is great. He's just like, where is your hand? Like, what are you doing? I think that I'm trying to actually do like a general tanwakom, like snuffing of the kick, but I'm not actually committing to it, so I'm just kind of like patting it with my hand. This is nice though, like every time I knee him and I take a step, I'm flowing into the next thing. It's like walking, it's just walking. There.
That's good.
That's old school Karuhat. Why are you not kneeing?
You make it
Just
smooth
kick.
later.
He said it's just a little bit too slow. Like when you step, you should already be, that step should be the step for your kick. I'm just thinking a little bit too much. His criticism is that I'm thinking. Don't think, just flow. There. Boy. I don't know what I'm doing with my arms.
Ole.
There, so I missed on that teep, but coming down used it as a step. That's totally what he was trying to teach me for a whole month in the intensive series. So you can see him kind of like breaking it down in that, and here you can see the context of it. He basically uses his body as pads. Like in the same way that a pad holder like holds the pad up and you're supposed to see the target and strike it, he does that with his whole body. And now he's punching my stomach because of how I'm standing, but I should see that as an invitation that I can do exactly that. You see that a lot in fighters. They kind of like strike back exactly what their opponent just did as a like, I can do what you do. It's nice. He's pushing off my front arm, and I used to get super off balance with that, and now I'm catching it better.
Nice, baby.
So there's that long knee that he was asking for, but I kind of tried to throw it from the front.
Keep kneeing open side, baby.
I'm stopping because Karuhat is so light on his feet and can just move a millimeter out of the way. And I feel very heavy when I'm trying to chase after him. And he says keep sparring with the boys. Like, I was telling him that he gave me this advice that I'm always training with people much bigger than me.
Nice knee.
And so it affects the way that I perform. Like, when you're always against people bigger, it changes the way that you fight. And so I've been training with some boys who are my size and a little bit smaller, and he's like, that's what's going to make you light on your feet. Look at how light he is when he moves. Just these little shifts. His weight is shifting. He's barely shifting in space. That little push-off is something that he does that I've actually not been able to do prior to that. Still padding with my arm.
Make it
That's
dramatic.
fine.
The style.
So see how he's trying to get me to see his weight shift to be able to tell when that kick is coming. Oh man, the way he scarecrows up against your shoulders and can just push you off or just snuff you. It looks like he's doing absolutely nothing, and he's so strong. See how he waited until my weight came onto my front foot, and that's when he threw that kick. He also waits for my leg to go down after I've blocked, and then he kicks. He just puts a delay on everything. He likes that elbow. That's the elbow that he wanted me to throw in my fight. See how he puts all his weight on his front foot, and you're like, he's totally going to kick because he's already put his weight there. You're not thinking that, but your body thinks that. And then he just delays on it. So he waited for me to put my leg up in the block, and then when I was on one leg, you step forward and push and then kick. He teaches me this in the intensive series where I trained with him for a month. So there's over 30 hours of training that's breaking down all of the things that are happening right now, because all of that led up to this. So right now we're like flowing through conversation that was broken down and taught for like over 30 hours in the intensive.
He waited.
You can see that on demand.
He waited for it to go down.
I'm so frustrated because I know he's only going to kick on that side. But he's just waiting for my block to go down because I'm blocking knowing that I need to block on that side.
Just start the knee and turn it into a step. Yeah.
He's saying I'm just waiting for you. There, see how I was like dragging my leg behind me a little bit? That's taken from Karuhat, in keeping your weight in the front so that you can't see the shift in weight that's required for a kick. So you're hiding it both in time and in distance a little bit because you're stuttering your weight. Look at his weight. See how he kind of pulses forward on it? And then here he's just bending backwards. He will not take a step back. He's just leaning backwards. So he's saying do that little step back and then the knee, and then you can fake the knee and throw the elbow. That's the move he taught me at the beginning. And he's like, I don't really care that you just hit me. He actually gets hit in the head quite a bit by me, but because of this position he takes with his head bent forward like that, you never actually see any impact from those. You'll never see his head snap. See how he jumps on those kicks? That little hop just shows how light and easy. He just ducked right into my punch.
Nice, baby.
But then he got that fucking kick with my arm down. So this is trying to catch him as he's moving along the ropes. And if he happens to take more space than I can reach with my now super long knees, then you just throw the kick. But he has showed me how to make those knees really long. So he's showing me how to get inside someone when they're blocking. So he's saying, he's me, right? I'm the opponent.
Is she lifting her leg?
So he's like, if you don't step super close, you can still kick. So basically, when I'm bringing my back leg up, and then I have to cover so much distance in order to grab the opponent in the rope. He's like, bring that leg up, put it back down, and then use a longer weapon. So I'm doing what he's telling me to do, but I'm not actually bringing my leg up enough to make it look like I'm really gonna knee. The amazing thing about him and he works with me on it all the time, is how he can turn a real move into a fake, like midway through.
It's okay, baby, just feel.
So here he's showing me how when I brought my leg up and he brought his leg up, that's when you can change your mind mid-move and just turn it into a step for the other side. That's this continuity that he worked with me on for so long in the intensive series. And I understood intellectually what he was talking about, but I couldn't feel it. This is me starting to feel it. So all of that led to this sparring looking the way that it does. See how he waits for my leg to go down? I'm starting to gallop on him a little bit now, which is something that I got
You
from
didn't want to put the foot down.
the elbow hunter. He's also got a part in the intensive series. He's a 7-day intensive that I worked with him. I had actually put up a video of Yodkin Khan's elbows in slow motion that I had taken, and Karuhat got really excited by it and was like, set me up with him, like, we should do battle, basically. So I'm using Yodkin Khan's gallop on Karuhat, and it's effective, but Karuhat knows how to snuff distance so well. Oi! See him duck under that? So this is something that he yelled at me about for so long, about how I bring that leg up and then just put it down without any meaning. So I'm doing that a couple of times, but then you can turn it into a T. It's because I'm not thinking about it so much. That's his move, this like knee to elbow on that one side. See how I can just walk into that? That's what he's trying to get me to do with that, when your opponent is on the rope, bringing that knee up and then just switching. It's just walking in. Look at his weight. Look at his weight. He waits for me to fire my counter, and then he goes. So that's a move he just used against me, but I didn't walk hard enough. See how open someone is when they put their leg up. So many people put their leg up as a like, you can't get me, I've snuffed your kick kind of thing. And that's literally what I'm doing when I'm using the forward check, is to like kind of make someone not want to kick on that side. But you're vulnerable when your leg is up. So he's showing how to use delay and faking your timing to take advantage of that. So there I was trying to use timing, didn't work, but you just use the step instead. He super wants to kick me with his left leg, but he can't because of his knee. So you can actually see times that he like is setting up for that left kick, but he won't throw it because of his knee and has to like change what he's doing. Oh, did you see his duck? I did the duck that I stole from him, and he did the duck. This is another thing he worked with me on a lot in the intensive, is when someone is teeping you, you just need to make the slightest adjustment to turn that teep from an effective weapon into your opponent off-balancing themselves, like that. When you get slightly out of the way, you pull the teep past its natural trajectory, and it throws your opponent off balance, and then you can attack really nice. That's what he was talking about earlier. He's just giving me enough space that my pace in walking forward is getting me to feel what he's been talking about in this ability to just kind of like switch sides and continue on this dull continuity. the way that he's moving out of the way is natural to fighting, but he's also like baby bearing it for me so that I can respond to his movements without thinking about them. That's what he was asking for, is that curved knee. Look how happy he is when I do what he's asking me to do.
That was pretty good.
So I'm starting to bring my knees up high again. And so he just kind of catches me in the air. So I made the knee longer and he's happy. He's very sweet. When I start understanding something that he's teaching me, he lets himself suffer it a few times. Like, he does not counter it immediately so that you never get to feel how it works. He's taking so many knees to the body that he taught me, and so he's now like suffering from his own technique so that I can feel it. He's an awesome teacher. So they're still coming up a little bit high, but he's doing this little dance back, and see how he switches sides? So that as I walk forward, I'm hitting his open side twice. If he scooted back in the same stance, I'd be hitting the closed side.
The next one. The next one.
Matador. So you just take another step. So I'm still a little bit floppy here and like what they call Muay, like just kind of throwing the kitchen sink. But my pace is better. The pace has slowed down so that I'm actually tagging him with each of those things. Watch our legs and our feet and how they're kind of like flowing together and following. When I move and he moves, he creates this like constant symmetry of our bodies so that I'm never getting an advantage on the way that I'm stepping. I have to outstep him for a second in order to get the advantage. So I was doing the thing that he did a minute ago of like when someone's on one leg, you push them and then step forward and kick. He's showing me how if you have same side up, so their leg is up and your leg is up on the same side, you can just scoot your little leg inside and knee. See that? Damn. I did this with my clinching partner when I went home a couple of hours after this, and I nailed him every single time because nobody sees that. Chumuk Pet also, who's southpaw, showed me how to just tuck inside when someone has the same side up as you. He's saying that I'm a little bit too high again to try to be longer. The way to be longer is in the way that you step and then the way that you flow your hip coming forward. So now that he's on the rope, that limits what movements he can do. And so he becomes more predictable, and I should have my set of things that I can do in response to that. That's what he worked with me on a lot during the intensive as well.
I think you think you're kicking with this instead of this.
This is totally like a review session
It's why your distance is
of
off.
the intensive where he breaks all of this stuff down.
Fight,
But
I can
it's
tell
brilliant
you
to
think
see
you're
how
hitting
it's
with
starting to become fluent. So I'm kicking from too far away, which means that I'm landing with my foot. So here he's showing me how he wants me to hop on my kicks. He's making a point here that I don't understand right away. He blocked me, so I'm like, I did it wrong. And he's like, they're blocking you anyway, but if you do this little hop, you look much better. There you look blocked.
He's like, it's the same kick, but it looks better if you do a little hop
When
on
he
it.
hops, he hit the exact same spot, but he looks better.
Sorry.
Oh, so you
Ajahn
won't lean
Surat
back.
made me hop on my kicks,
hop.
and he said that it's like a chicken, like when a chicken is attacking.
Yeah.
That's totally
Yeah.
the same
But
thing.
you can't lean back on a hop. You fall down. Yeah.
That's how I lean back on my kicks. I'm like, it's like if you're jabbing and barely trying to touch somebody.
Yeah, maybe that's the answer too.
I love the expression on his face when he's like
Yeah. If
making
that
a point
kick
about
barely
aesthetics.
touch,
Ajahn Surat's chicken.
it's
See
a
how he's
high,
like, see how easy
it's a
that
high
is?
score just there.
It's so much
I
better.
told him so much.
มันโดดเชือกถึงไม่เข้ามันก็โอ้โห
Sorry.
That was good to do.
It's so important to understand that like everyone has similar techniques, everyone has same strikes. Like there are only so many things to do in Muay Thai. It's just how it's like how many words are in a language, and then how people piece them together, how they say them, how they make an argument.
That's all right.
These little things about the
It's okay. Rub a little
aesthetic
dirt on it.
are super important. I have stitches behind my left ear, and I keep like rubbing them into Karuhat's head.
มานึกว่าไม่เป็นไร
What's he need?
That's all right. Goes to show I
His knee?
use my head a lot more than I think I do.
นึกว่าตัวเองไม่เจ็บ
Oh, he
กินยาไหม
จิ้มอยู่ค่ะฉีด
He said this morning he forgot that his knee hurt, and so when he got out of bed, he just started like
is he okay now?
limping around because he completely forgot that his knee was hurting.
ฉีดยาแล้วก็ฉีดแล้วก็เอา
That's actually something I've heard from many fighters is that they forget about their injury.
แพ้ผิวสวย
อ๋อได้
พอง
So he's saying that someone gave him a cream to put on his knee for the swelling, but his skin is allergic to it, so he broke out because of this cream that was trying to help with
ต้อง
the
ไปเปลี่ยน
swelling.
ยาเอาเป็นยาเย็น
I make fun of
Probably
Karuhat
got
for his delicate
intense
lady
surgical.
skin.
Mom
like-
career is just
He gets
the way-
blisters on his ankles really easily from certain shin guards,
ๆ
and
ส
like
เปรย์สเปรย์
Spray.
he's just too pretty.
ฝรั่งฉีดให้
He's got that delicate skin.
สำหรับอยู่ใช่ไหม
เออที่เวลานักฟุตบอลเนี่ยมันส
ชา
เปรย์ชา
There's this spray that you can use that kind of numbs
มันพอง
pain. It's
หนัง
ที่ธรรมดาใช่ไหม
not super chemically. It's actually mostly menthol. It's just cooling.
ทำไมพี่
But he had put it on his elbows, and it took his skin off. I'm like, why are you so delicate? Little paper doll. One of the baddest ass men on the planet, and his skin's so soft.
Not so much a fortress. It's like
Look at how he rolls his shorts exactly the way he did back in the day.
Nice, baby.
So you can see the difference in his feet and my feet. Just even how, look at when he takes those little steps. It looks like his feet are barely on the ground. You can see how that elbow and knee work together on that one side. So you're hitting on the same side over and over again, but it's like whack-a-mole, how you go like knee to elbow, knee to elbow. So I'm kind of hesitating a little bit more than I was earlier because I'm like getting tired, so I'm going back into my older habits. But you can see how the pace can come back to the Karuhat walk. That's what he wants me to do in the clinch.
Oh!
When you're squared up
Oh.
in clinch, that little hop back,
There was delay on
did
that.
that so nice.
You changed your
And he
mind
did not
halfway through it.
expect it.
That was amazing. Yeah.
That little hop back allows you to do a straight knee from very little distance. He's saying that if he knows that I'm going to do it, it's no problem. But when it's unexpected, that's when you like knock the wind out of someone. So now he's got to be a little more careful. So this is like a combination of my older habits and the newer habits. So I'm still walking forward, but there's a little bit of a stutter. But it's totally what he's been trying to get me to do with this like switching stance as a walking towards someone. Like you kind of don't break pace as you're coming at them. That's why he looks like he's a rubber band or something. He has this flexibility because every single step, whether it's forward or backward, is leading to the next movement. That's this conversation and fluency that we talk about so much about the intensive when I was working with him for a month. Oh. So I was taking his inside knee and turning it into a teep, kind of like pulling inside his knee. So this thing that he showed me, this awesome siap, means to like skewer or stab. So when you hear someone yell siap, they mean like a really straight knee right into the middle of someone's gut. He's having me do a siap knee from the same side as someone's block. So basically I'm trying to get that knee in all the time while doing all of this other stuff. So basically you get like a word of the day and you try to work it into a natural conversation instead of just repeating that word over and over again. So I'm trying to work that siap knee with his leg up in the air into this whole symmetry of movement and conversation. See how he keeps putting his leg up so that I can read and make decisions. So anytime he goes up on one leg, he's creating a big target. And there I'm finally not snuffing him when he's on the ropes. You'll see me struggle with that a lot in the intensive, which is good. One of the good things about these long-form training videos is seeing the mistakes and seeing the failures and the frustration, because all of that is necessary in order to get to what Karuhat's doing and the small steps towards what he's doing that I'm trying to lean towards. So I'm kind of like that upward elbow is something that he's been working with me on. When you kind of like you kind of fold the arms and get people very conscious of their arms, and then you just split up the middle because they think they have their guard for everything you've been doing to mess with their arms, and then you just come right up the middle. So same with this knee, like they think that they're blocking and you just come to the inside. So he's showing me how to hide the knee a little bit better by keeping my weight forward, and you kind of hide the timing and the distance. So you think like they're not going to be able to reach me from there, their weight is already forward, but he has this ability to glide. It's almost like ice skating or something.
Nice, baby. Nice.
So here's those elbows and knees working together. And he's just trying to take space away from each of those, so he's not...
Jump!
That's very Karuhat right there, that endless movement around. When is he going to strike? I'm trying to imitate him, and he's just hitting me every time the weight goes to the side. So there's trying to do the jump on the kick that he was talking to me about. You can see how it looks a little bit more like I'm in control of where he is, just by that little hop. Whereas I look like I'm heavy and being snuffed out with the exact same block when I don't jump. That's me thinking I'm jumping, I'm not. So see how he's resisting the elbow? And so that's when you can throw the knee, and then fake the knee and throw the elbow. He has this brilliant, beautiful step back into the elbow. So he's saying when Sylvie goes back, Karuhat naturally moves forward, and so he's moving forward into your elbow. I'm kind of pulling him with my left arm, which I don't need to do. My right arm slipping down his left arm is kind of what is going to make him lean into it. Look at his flex. He takes a slight step back with his back leg, but he's mainly just bending.
มันอยู่ที่นิดหน่อย
He giggles a little bit when I come close, like when he feels a little bit of fear. It's really good. I told him I didn't want to play elbows with him while he's wearing those shorts because he cut Longman so bad in that fight. It's like a bad omen. His pink shorts give him special powers.
แทงต้องแทงอย่างนี้
He has this whole thing about elbows, which is that you do not show that you're going to throw them by creating tension in your own arms. You stay really light with your hands so that your opponent is like, that's no problem, and then you just kind of slip over. That's Karuhat's weight shift. He's got this whole like chest leading. So here's showing me how to hide that knee better, so that when my weight's coming forward, it's not like a wind up. I'm kind of like leaning back first to wind up for the knee. These are his light elbows. The elbow itself is not light, it cuts, so it's not like thuddy, but you're just kind of barely going around the guard. See how that knee lands with some good strength, but you don't see a big like wind up on it. You're not actually throwing with a lot of power. It's the length and the accuracy that makes it so hard.
So you're being loose. It's okay.
So here's cutting him off as he's trying to get
You're being loose.
along the ropes. I'm frustrated because my hands are so floppy. They're significantly less floppy than they were other times that we've been working on this stuff. But I just kind of feel it. It's just being aware of it is a good step.
มันไม่ออกขวาไปเยี่ยมครับไปดิเอาใหม่ครับ
So here I tried to steal or do something that he's taught me before, which is when you go after someone's front leg and just kind of hook it a little bit. So he stepped back to get out of the way, and he's showing me how because he changed his stance, I just turned that into a step and hit his open side. His secrets are not complicated. They're actually like brilliant little moments of literacy, like being able to read where someone's weight is allows you to hit them all the time. See how he throws me off right as I land off of a punch?
I missed your jump.
Oh, they're right
This
there.
cat was making so much noise. This little kitten was like mewing so loud.
So little.
Oi.
They're so tiny.
Hi. Cat scratching.
Oh, the cat
He
scratched
got
him?
attacked by the mama cat the other day.
He's
He's got some pretty good scratches along his leg.
Oh, they're trying to play with his.
The little one?
They're trying to play with his thing.
The little one?
แต่ไม่ใช่ที่
He said that the cat was actually trying to play with his knee brace or something. I don't know.
Baby, can you help him?
อัน
He
นี้ลูก
wants
มั
to
น
get over the wall.
ลูกมัน
This little
Yeah,
kitten
he
was
tried to
trying to get
jump.
over the wall and it like couldn't quite do it. So Kevin was asking me to help the kitten, which the kitten did not want to be near me. And then the mama cat just like barreled in and was like, I'll take care of it. There's
Nice.
construction happening all around the gym, so I think those cats were kind of locating. So my hop back for that straight knee is good, but I put my head down a little bit too far, which makes my ass go out instead of just my leg back. When Karuhat does it, it's this like brilliant, he stays really upright, so it's hard to read where his weight is as the opponent. So I'm using my steps to set up for these punches to hit small openings. And then I should continue moving to score the bigger points. That's what he does. He has these like little ones, and then there's the like massive shot because they've taken a step and you match the step. putting the brakes on me there. He shows that in the intensive. This brilliant. He teaches me a couple of clinch throws, and he shows me how to put the brakes on it as a person whose opponent is trying to throw them. That block is really good. I just have to go around it, but I'm afraid of throwing him right now because of his knee. So this is kind of like gestures towards throws without actually getting near them. I'm starting to get tired now. So that causes me to hesitate before doing anything, and I'm actually thinking too much. Whether we just started or we're like 2 hours in, he looks the same because he's not thinking about things. He's just feeling the movement all the time. When you're tired, you start thinking, and that's what causes all of the hesitation and like showing your fatigue.
Nice bouncing.
There's that shove off. So when he goes on one leg, you just step forward and shove at the same time. So you like use the momentum of stepping forward to push someone backwards into your kick like that. See how he's pumping his arms to show how it's just like left, right, left, right? It's just like swimming, walking. Look how fluid he is when he goes out. He just did the exact same move I did, but like super smooth.
He didn't think that knee was going to reach.
He laughs every time he gets surprised by this knee that he's having me work on. So I'm kind of leaving my butt back a little bit, which is why the knee is not as long as his is. But if you make it really straight, see how it comes inside his knee, even though his knee is not super outside. He says that it's about rhythm. He uses this word jangwa, which is like rhythm and timing. So see how his leg comes up, but I'm going to nail him before he has time to respond to my leg coming up. So I'm asking him about how Isolnoy and Karuhat both tell me to knee up into the solar plexus because there's no muscles there. And he's like, that's true. But if you knee someone in the stomach, even though they have abs that they can flex to protect themselves, if you hit them when they're not expecting it, which is what he's teaching me, when you come inside and use timing for them to not know that you're kneeing, they think that you're blocking while they're blocking. You can knock the wind out of someone just by the surprise. See how he folds? And that's kind of hitting him like right under the belly button. That's a super painful spot. It's like right over the bladder. I've been taught to teep there because it's painful. Look at how much control he has with his right arm, and all it's doing is hanging out inside my elbow. He's laughing because he knows how frustrating he is. So see how just staying within that kneeing range allows me to throw them from various distances as he's trying to get away from me. That is the incredible result of working with Karuhat so intensively. Being able to pick up what he's teaching me, because I'm relaxed and because I've picked up other things that kind of lead into these techniques. He's trying to show me how it's one movement, but you bring your leg up first. You don't bring the knee up and then stab forward. It has to float forward all as one movement, but the knee comes up first. So this is the same as the kick that he's taught me, which you kind of float forward and rise up. He works with me that a lot in the intensive. It's the same weight shift concept, but for the knee. See how he brings his knee up so that it looks like a block, but then he doesn't break the movement to come forward. It just continues forward.
You can do that on the bag.
Like a switchblade
What?
is longer than it seems or something.
On the bag.
Yeah.
See how he sends his hips? He's showing how you can do this on the bag. So you stay really close to the bag to understand how to create this motion from short distance. See how it comes up first, but it's not too motion. Oh, he comes right inside. He like scoops it inside a little bit too. And I land on balance off of it, which is really nice.
You step here.
It just turns into a step.
Across.
So Kevin is saying if I step towards his
or
left foot across the way that he was teaching me before to like track them if they're trying to step off. Kevin wants me to throw like a reverse elbow off of it or something.
A reverse.
But Karuhat's like, just throw that left elbow into the open side. Look at that rock. See how he rises up on his standing leg at the peak of it? He like creates 6 more inches by that movement, by the way that he lifts up like that. So you don't have to throw it with power. It's about the accuracy and the timing. The opponent isn't ready. Like they're not going to flex. They don't know that that's coming.
But he's like, they're not flexing because they don't expect it. Like if they know they're going to need it, but if they don't know.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
So am I.
I think you
It's
found
like hitting
something
someone
really
when their
good.
mouth is open, kind of.
When you see the film, you'll see.
Jaw.